Hey y'all, it's Brandon
And Stephanie
from Getting Gazelle. Just wanted to record tonight and give you guys an update on where we are, just overall life, just bring you up to speed.
Something else that made August a lot tight is that we decided, in May or June, that we were going to homeschool again. And I know I've talked about it briefly on our channel about homeschooling again. So we are homeschooling 4 grades. We are homeschooling using Classical Conversations, and Classical Conversations it's a community type group where the parents are involved, but there is a tuition fee for each of the children, an activity fee, and I have to pay childcare for Isaiah because he's 3 and he wants to get in the middle of our experiments and our activities, and no. So he's going to preschool or nursery type care in the morning and in the afternoon on Wednesdays. And then Delaney is old enough that she has a class in the afternoon. And so I have 3 more kids in the nursery in the afternoon. And so we've had to pay these fees. We've had to buy books, special books for this program and special materials because it is a classically taught program. And then on top of our tuition, so we had it in our account, but it really kind of scraped us up a little bit for the month of August.
But we prayed and prayed and prayed about it to make sure that we were making the right decision, and God just really put it on our heart this year that our kids, for us, would be better, suited to be homeschooled in this program.
Right. And I really like the accountability. I really love that I have other moms that are, walking this road with me. It's wonderful for people who are new to town and don't know anybody because we're meeting other families that are like-minded with us, and they are teaching their children using Christian classical materials, the same ones we are. So that's really neat. And so each Wednesday I do a different class. Last week I was in with Solomon. This week I'll be in with Isaiah. In the afternoons I'm always in Delaney's class. The kids don't have teachers. They have tutors because I am the teacher in our house. And to explain that a little bit, because she said this week she will be in with Isaiah. They rotate in the nursery, so. Oh, I didn't mean Isaiah. I meant Solomon.
Oh, well, even with that.
Xander.
So she'll be in with Xander, but they do rotate in the nursery.
Yes.
So there's always the parents. It's not like hired people.
No, there's one hired lady and then a mom from our group.
Right.
And so it makes 2 people, but like 1 constant. So. And so I have drawn, because of how many kids I have in the program, I have 3 childcare weeks, and I have, and then all the other weeks I'm expected to be in a classroom of a child of mine. And our director is really nice, and she's like, just go where you think you need to go. I spend every afternoon with Delaney, so I'm not really planning on going up to her morning class. All the kids are learning the same thing in the mornings, so I just kind of quiz her whenever we're in the car coming home. But let me tell you, this is a serious program because we came home on Wednesday and I was done. I walked in the door, I took off my shoes, I laid my bag down at the door, and I said, we're done. I am so done today.
And poor Stephanie, I don't miss work. But this past week I missed 2 days because I had food poisoning.
But I didn't do the food poisoning.
No, she didn't. It was all me. It was my fault. But anyway, it was food I made at home, so it was chicken salad. But anyway, besides all that, so I was in the bed like the entire Wednesday while she was gone to the program, and then to have to come home. Typically, I would love to be there shortly after from work and tag out and be able to put the kids into bed and
he is so good about tagging out for me. I'm so blessed. I'm usually still homeschooling a straggling child that's dug their feet in and decided that they're not going to finish their assignments, or maybe didn't understand something, we have to redo an assignment, or, something crazy has happened and we're redoing it, or we're still working. And Brandon is so good. I am so blessed because Brandon will literally walk in the door. He likes to kiss me, and then he likes to go change his clothes into comfy clothes, and then he is ready to jump in wherever I need him. If I need him, to calm down the boys, if I need him to take over cooking dinner so I can go to the restroom for the first time in the whole day, then that's what he does. And that is just such a blessing.
But not this past Wednesday.
Not this past Wednesday. This past Wednesday, it was like, fend for yourself, kids. We have fruit. We have, fresh vegetables that can be eaten raw, like carrots. We have lunch meat.
So it was kind of the perfect storm. I mean, a brand new, the first day of this class, and then I'm sick, and I'm in the bed all day, and to come home, and, not to mention, we had another oopsie that day because Xander, I think we may have said this before, I'm not sure, but he wears a patch for medication.
And he takes a pill every day. He chews his pill.
So I got up that morning before they went. I put his patch on him, and I gave him his medication. And
he was so sweet. He went and got me coffee. He helped me carry.
Even though I was sick.
He was so sick. And he had been up and down all night. He said he had only gotten about an hour's rest. And he made sure I had coffee. He helps me carry my books to the car. I mean,
and then I
guys,
go back in the bed.
I married way, way, way up. Way up.
Too sweet.
And he did all those things for me. And then I got called out of Solomon's class, and the teacher said that Xander had stuck the bean up his nose.
They were dissecting a bean. He stuck it up his nose.
We were dissecting a softened bean, and he stuck it up his nose, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I left Solomon's class. I went into Xander's class because all 4 of my kids are in different classrooms.
And we get told constantly by the church staff and anywhere we take Xander that he is so well behaved and so polite, a little rambunctious at times.
Wiggly is what most people say. He's an active boy.
He is.
And so I could not understand. I was mortified. I didn't know these people in my group. I just...
Like, if it would have been somebody at church, they would have said, Xander's acting very out of the norm today. What is going on? This was the first time he's been in this program. So, Stephanie text messaged me and she said, I don't know what's gotten into Xander. And all of a sudden, like, a light bulb went off. I said...
I said, I don't know what's gotten into Xander. And then we went to lunch in the lunchroom. We all pack our lunch and eat together as a community. And then I was text messaging Brandon. I'm seriously sitting at the table, like, trying not to cry because I'm so upset. And so I'm text messaging Brandon. I shot a message out to one of my friends who's another homeschooling mom who totally gets it. And I said, please pray for me. I'll explain later. And she said, no problem. I'm on it. And I sent the message to Brandon. He was like, what's up? And I said, Xander got in trouble in his class and he stuck beans up his nose, and I don't know what's happening. I was like, he's not really listening to me at lunchtime. I'm not sure if he's just out of his element or this is a new church. I just didn't know. I was just beside myself. I was embarrassed. I was very humbled, next to all these parents who, some of them I didn't know, and they had to come get me out of the class.
So all of a sudden, like, a light bulb went off, and I sent Stephanie a message, and I said...
Oh, yes, I took him... So his punishment was he had to go to Delaney's class with me that afternoon, which is called Essentials, and it's an English class. Well, it's English writing and some math drill. And so, it's hardcore English. And so, I had him sitting next to me, and he was, like, trying to stick his finger in the electrical socket.
Oh, yeah, that's
right.
And
I was just like, and I had sent the message to Brandon. He said, I'm sick. He said, Steph, I'm so sick, but if you need me to, I will come and get him. And I was trying everything in my power just to make it through the last 2 hours.
So she sent me the message about the electrical outlet, and I said, like, a light bulb went off, and I said, wait a second. So I sent a message back, and I said, does he still have his patch on?
And I stuck my hand down the back of his shirt, and the patch was gone.
It was gone.
And so I stood him up, and I looked him in the eye, and I said, Xander, when did you take your patch off? And he said, I thought it was time. And I said, Xander, you don't take your patch off until like 5 or 6 o'clock at night. Like, you know, around dinner. And he started crying. He was so remorseful. And he really has a soft heart. It's just, you know, he struggles so badly with his ADHD and sensory processing disorder. And it was new to him, and it was just the perfect storm. And so I did end up sending Brandon the message. I sent him the address, and I said, I am in room 103. Please come get Xander. Because at that point, it was really not worth, you know, fussing at Xander and making him feel bad about himself when he had not been properly medicated. So that was rough, but other than that, I had a pretty good day.
We're hoping this Wednesday goes much better because what we're going to do is we're going to put Xander's patch on, and we're going to send an extra patch with Stephanie just in case.
During this class, when I was waiting on Brandon to come and rescue me by taking Xander with him, I wrote a list of things that will make this week go much smoother. And one of those things is chocolate for mommy to have during lunchtime because it was a long day. And I mean, I don't want to sound like a wimp because I realized that my kids were going to school all day, every day, for a long time. My mom was a school teacher and she taught from 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. But it was a doozy this past Wednesday. Well, and part of that is just working out some kinks because we're using a church that the pastor does not speak English, so he forgot about us, and so we couldn't set up classrooms on time and things like that.
So everybody got there at the same time instead of the tutors being able to go in and set up the class and having everything prepared.
Right.
And so it was kind of a big cluster right at the beginning, and
it was a little chaotic. And then they couldn't figure out where the air conditioning handler was. So at one point, I looked up during our afternoon class, and it was 77 degrees in a classroom with like 12 people in a very small room, close quarters.
But glass half full, if next week goes just according to the original plan, think about how much better it'll seem.
I know. It'll seem like it's just so much better. So that is a little bit of our homeschooling